If you're looking for a way to help your business massively benefit from AI and automation, this video is for you. I'm going to show you a quick tour of Claude Cowork and then get ready to run a quick knowledge audit of your business, which is the first step to what I'm calling a business operating system. So Claude Cowork lives inside of your macOS app, and it is just another tab that sits alongside chat and code. Currently only available on macOS, but soon coming to all other platforms. Inside of here, you'll see a pretty familiar interface. It looks very much like chat with a couple of very important differences. The most important thing to pay attention to and to be aware of is the concept of plugins. If you click on plus here, you will see this option that says add plugins. And over here, you can look at all the plugins that were provided by Anthropic by default. And also there are ways of importing other plugins from other places. And we'll talk about that in the future videos. So in here, we can pick one of the plugins. I'm going to actually pick the sales plugin and show you what that looks like. So when I click on install, it installs it. And then I can go and manage this plugin. The way they've set up plugins is very interesting and it makes a lot of sense. They've basically bundled skills, commands, and then recommended connectors for the specific plugins. So you can see here that for this particular sales plugin, it's got call summary that it takes in a transcript and processes it in very specific ways. And it has very specific instructions for how to do that. It has the concept of skills. And you can think of skills as more kind of agentic tools that allow Cowork to do more complex tasks. And these skills are defined here, and you can see them in detail, exactly what they're supposed to do and how they're structured. And then they also have the concept of connectors, right? So in here, they basically suggest what types of connections you should have for this plugin to work well. So we can see for sales, it's some sort of communication tool like Slack, CRMs like HubSpot, market research tools like Clay, Zoom Info, et cetera, et cetera. These are suggested connectors that they believe will make this plugin work extremely well. So with that behind us now, let's focus on how we can start moving towards defining your business operating system on Claude Cowork. So I created this prompt, and I'll paste this in the show notes, that essentially is going to create a spreadsheet of where the company knowledge lives. We're going to focus on knowledge type, where it lives, who has access, how current that knowledge is, and integration readiness. I'm going to initially focus on these types of knowledge, so strategic, customer, process, decision history. And we're going to also let Cowork suggest other common types of knowledge and suggest common tools for that. So let's run that and see what it comes back with. You will see here on the right side that it has a couple of nice utilities for us. So number one, it has this progress bar that essentially tells us where we are in the process of doing it. It has a context, and here we'll list the types of skills that it's using. So you see here it's using a skill for generating a spreadsheet. In here, it will start also showing us different assets and different steps in the process. Okay, we're back. It took about a minute and a half for it to process my request. And as you can see on the right side, it completed 2 steps. It also shows me the intermediate assets that it used. So it actually wrote a Python script for this and then generated a spreadsheet. And as we said earlier, it used a Excel spreadsheet skill to generate a spreadsheet. So as you can see here, it followed our instructions and created this spreadsheet. The spreadsheet contains all the columns that we asked it to create. And it also gave us some suggestions of where we can find these knowledge types. So for example, under strategic knowledge, company vision and mission, usually it's some sort of a wiki and Notion, internal site, in different pitch decks. In terms of OKR strategic goals, again, similar types of tools. And we can go through and basically have a look at all of these. This creates a really great starting point because we're not starting from a blank sheet. We're actually starting from a spreadsheet that already gives us a bunch of ideas, and probably some of these things are pretty correct or close to, and it's more of editing the spreadsheet and starting from scratch. So now that we have this, the next step will be figuring out how we can connect all of this data and how we can actually create the business operating system based on this information. So let's look at the connectors that Claude provides out of the box. These are some of the connectors that are probably very common, and you will find a lot of things here that you most likely use in your business, including things like the Google Suite and Notion and Intercom and Monday, etc. So these are the connectors that will actually help you put everything together. If you do not find the connectors here for your knowledge, you will need to look at the specific providers and understand if they have MCP servers. We'll get into that more in the next video, but essentially a lot of companies now have hosted MCP servers that allow you to connect directly from here, from Claude, into those companies' data. If those don't exist, then you will have to deploy your own connectors. Then you will need somebody who is a little bit technical to help you set that up and deploy those connectors, but that's also a possibility. So now that we have looked at some basics of Claude Cowork and we looked at where you can find your company data, in the next video, I'll show you how to connect all of this into a single intelligent layer and why I'm starting to call this a business operating system. For now, run this audit with your leadership team, understand where your data lives, how you can access it, and I'm sure that you'll be surprised what you can find. In the next video, we'll help you connect all of that and start using the intelligence layer on top of the data that you have.